everybody, Pastor Randy here. Welcome to Making It Simple. Great to be with you as always. So we're going to jump right back into our lesson from yesterday as we're looking at, is it over? We read that the disciples, Peter and the couple of guys that were out fishing, and we talked about the emotional battle that in particular Peter was struggling with. And we read that there was a familiar and friendly voice coming from the shore, but they weren't sure who it was. The story goes on and it says it was Jesus, that he called out to them, but they didn't know who he was. Now one would think, well, wait a minute now. They'd been with him for a number of years, obviously had been through all the ups and downs, the emotional battles and the crucifixion and the resurrection and all. How? Well, let me ask you this. When we're in our place, and when I speak of place, I mean in that moment, in that circumstance, in that situation where you're really wrestling with something, all right? And we know that Peter was really, really wrestling with something internally. He was really struggling. When you're there, when you're in that place, you don't always see the answer. You certainly don't always hear the answer, even if it's right in front of you. Friends, emotional battles are one of the most difficult journeys that we'll ever go on, one of the most difficult fights you'll ever be in. I remember, when I was on the road, we dealt with some pretty big people, but they were right in front of you, and they were difficult to deal with. The ones you couldn't see. One of the worst fights I ever had was a little fellow that I couldn't see that was half my size at that time. And I was a big guy at that time. And this little guy come out of the dark, I couldn't see him. And we had one whale of a fight. Let me tell you, sometimes the things we don't see because we're not able to see at that moment give us the hardest time. Jesus, it says, calls out, he says, friends. Why does that word matter? Why does that word matter? Well, it's a relational term. It's a term of endearment. Bottom line is, he cared about them. He cared for them. He could see their need. They'd been out struggling all night, attempting to catch a fish, if you will, if you want to just use that as the analogy. But he saw something much more. He knew what Peter was dealing with. He knew the battle that he was struggling with. He saw that their efforts had produced nothing. You ever felt that way? You ever felt like, man, I've done everything that I could possibly do and nothing is changing? I'm going through that right now in the most literal sense of every truth that I could give you. That is a battle that I'm facing right now, is you feel like you're doing everything that's right, everything that seems to be helpful, and yet still, if you internalize and look at all the battles that you're facing emotionally, you feel like you're pouring water on a rock. Jesus said, friends, you don't have any fish. Could we look at that as sarcasm? Well, if you looked at it just through our eyes, yeah, because that would be the obvious that there wasn't anything there. But that's not what he was doing. That's not what we read in this, because he saw them. Remember, he's calling them friends. He's not being a jerk. He's saying, friends, you don't have any fish. He saw that their effort, in other words, what they did on their own, produced nothing. I've been there. You ever been there? It's real. And so this again, it wasn't him being sarcastic. It was him being observant. You see, God knows our need. He knows every single one. He knows our need. Even the ones that we don't think we deserve, the ones that we feel have passed us by because we've determined that it's over. But is it? You see, Peter was really struggling getting past what he had done. He denied Jesus. But all that had been restored, right? Yes and no. Yes, that is what God offered. That is what through Christ was absolutely there. But Peter was really, really struggling. He was really struggling with the reality of that, the acceptance of that. I know that you just gave me this gift, whatever it might be, but I'm still really processing, man, I don't deserve that. What do I even do with that? How do I use these resources? How do I use this piece of equipment? How do I play this instrument? Whatever it was, whether it's tangible, whether it's something emotional, you forgave me. But I was really, really wrong with what I did, and I don't know if I deserve. You see how we get in our own way sometimes? Jesus is speaking to them in their time of need, but in particular, and we're going to see this as this story unfolds, he's talking to Peter. Because Peter was the one really, really fighting here himself. He was really struggling getting past where he had been and where he was going, because I don't deserve to be there. I don't deserve to have this type of love and kindness and all these different things. It says that the answer was given back to the voice on the shore. No. In other words, no, we didn't catch anything. No, I'm not there yet. No, I haven't figured it out. No, I don't know the answer anymore because I'm running out of steam. I'm running out of gas. I just don't know what else I can do. The friendly voice that tells us from the shore said, well, go cast your net back out on the right. Go back out and cast it out on the right side of the boat. This is important, and this is kind of where we'll end off today. When we hear that, we instantly think of a geographical, a directional answer, right? Right and left. But that's not what he was talking about. Hear me out. We can see the literalcy of that, again, in the geographic nature, the right over the left. But I want you to understand the consequential nature of right versus wrong. In other words, to get where I need to go, to get where I need to be, I have to be traveling the right, meaning correct, path. With Jesus, understand this, friends, with Jesus, there's always a right and a wrong answer. Always. He said, try the other side, and you'll find some fish. Isn't that life? You've tried what the world has offered, and you've caught nothing. Or what you have caught is nothing worth keeping. He said, how about try the other side? You'll find what you're looking for there. Seek, and you will find. But what is the key to that? What is the key to that? The willingness to seek. No action, no results. The willingness at this moment to physically cast the net again was emotionally draining. I've been doing it and doing it and doing it, and it's never worked. You ever felt that way? Have you ever really struggled with that type of battle in your life? I've been doing it, Pastor, for years. I've been trying for years. I've been praying. I've been doing this. I've been doing that. I've gone to every kind of help thing that I could find. I've read every self-help book I could find. I've done this. I've done that. Go back and cast it on the right side. Cast it just one more time. Because what we often find is when we're willing, and that's the key word, to cast it again to a different place, it changes everything. We're going to pick back up on that, Lord willing, when we come back on Monday, right here at Making It Simple. Hope this lesson today will give you something to think about over the next couple of days until we're back together. God bless you. Have a great day.